And the verdict is in, and it's not looking good for Justin Trudeau. It seems he's lost his way, taking a hugely risky gamble by prioritizing vote bank politics over fostering friendly relations with India. The consequences of his actions are beginning to hit home, by the way, with even Canadians now dubbing him the worst Prime Minister they have had in 50 years. This is not hearsay. A recent poll has confirmed this. The Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is currently under fire for his allegations against India over the killing of the Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar on Canadian soil, and he is witnessing a significant drop in his popularity among the voters. According to the latest poll, if the elections were held today, Justin Trudeau would secure only 30% of the votes. If only there were a time machine, one could imagine Trudeau eagerly hopping on board to reverse his dangerous allegations against India. Allegations that remain unsubstantiated. But before we delve further, let's just shed some light on its findings. An Ipsos poll has revealed that a staggering 40% of Canadians would prefer to see the opposition leader Pierre, Poilievre, a conservative, take the reins as the country's Prime Minister. And in case elections are held today, Poilievre's Conservatives would garner 39% of the votes. Meanwhile, Trudeau, who swept into office in the year 2015 and currently leads the Liberal Party, would be left with just 30% of the votes. Canada is scheduled to hold elections in the year 2025, and these statistics, as reported by Canada's Global News, paint a rather vivid picture of the challenges that Justin Trudeau faces. Trudeau has been soft on Khalistani elements, to say the least, often dismissing their acts of vandalism and hooliganism as freedom of expression. And this has raised eyebrows not just in Canada, but across borders. And India, time and again, has asked Canada to take a firm stand against Khalistani terrorism year after year, only to see its pleas fall on deaf ears. And this inaction has culminated in a tense diplomatic standoff between the two sides that have otherwise enjoyed close and friendly ties. And rather than cracking down on these dangerous anti-India forces, Justin Trudeau has chosen to double down on his rhetoric, linking the killing of a Khalistani terrorist to the Indian government, a politically motivated move that has created fear on the ground. Trudeau's government took the unprecedented step of expelling a top Indian diplomat from Canada without providing any substantial evidence. It was only after facing backlash for these drastic moves and India's tit-for-tat expulsion of a Canadian diplomat, along with the suspension of visa services for Canadians, that Trudeau attempted a damage control operation last night. However, even now, there is absence of proof to substantiate his claims. And Trudeau repeatedly uses the term credible allegations, quote unquote, leaving many, including those within our own newsroom, perplexed about its meaning. An allegation is considered credible when the source, nature, or information provided suggests that it is plausible and warrants further investigation. As a world leader, Trudeau carries a big responsibility, and his statements and actions have far-reaching consequences. So we find ourselves back where we started, asking the very same question that we asked on Tuesday. Where is the proof, Mr. Trudeau? Where is the credible evidence that would have justified the expulsion of an Indian diplomat? It's a question that deserves answers, not just from Canada's leadership, but from the international community as a whole. Let's just cut to the chase. The Canadian Prime Minister, no offense intended, appears to have fallen hostage to the whims of anti-India forces. Trudeau's decision to make unsubstantiated claims against India regarding the June killing of the Khalistan terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar, an incident which, by the way, took place on Canadian soil, has become a dangerous weapon in the hands of these radical elements. Trudeau's actions have not only emboldened these elements but have also polarized the Indian community in Canada for political gains. And the reality on the ground is unsettling, to say the least. Pro-Khalistan groups stage anti-India protests outside Indian diplomatic missions, pose threats to Indian diplomats, and even target the Indian national flag and other Indian communities living in Canada. Trudeau, in positioning himself as the darling of pro-Khalistan elements, inadvertently emboldens their sinister acts of terror. And this in turn fuels their hateful actions against Hindus and results in the defacement and vandalism of Indian cultural symbols. However, it's important to remember that India is a responsible country. New Delhi has presented concrete evidence of the very real Khalistani threat being harbored within Canada's borders. Before the killing of Nijjar, the Punjab police approached the Canadian authorities seeking Nijjar's extradition to India. However, Nijjar was not the only person against whom action or information was requested. There are 21 prominent gangsters who have sought refuge in Canada. Indian agencies diligently compiled the list and detailed evidence against these individuals. And this information has been shared with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police on multiple occasions over the past year. Even as far back as 2018, during the tenure of Punjab's Chief Minister and now BJP leader Amrinder Singh, a list and a comprehensive dossier of 10 terror fugitives sheltered in Canada were presented to Justin Trudeau. The dossier contained not only the addresses of these terror suspects in Canada, but also a chilling catalogue of their criminal activities. And despite the strong evidence, Trudeau chose to remain inactive. And now India's biggest concerns center around the safety and security of its citizens and the Indian diaspora in Canada. And this worry has only escalated after Khalistanis issued ominous threats to Canadian Hindus, urging them to leave the country. The Ministry of External Affairs responded with a detailed advisory, using particularly assertive language, urged Indian students and Indian nationals in Canada to exercise utmost caution due to the growing anti-India activities and politically condoned hate crimes and criminal violence. And while Trudeau is yet to provide any proof, India has made a compelling case by presenting concrete proof of how Canadian government has shielded these radicals. And this situation warrants a closer look by the world for the sake of global security and stability. In the grand scheme of things, the people of Canada will not be easily swayed by Justin Trudeau's counterfeit politics. After all, one cannot rescue a sinking ship with mere hysteria. And the Canadians recognize that, even if their Prime Minister does not. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.